It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Hello there. Greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Our Way Mandalorian Review. We are going to be doing a recap and a spoiler-heavy discussion of the latest episode that is taking place in Season 2 of The Mandalorian. But I am not alone in this journey. Joining us this week, we have Gregory Lee. Gregory, how you doing, buddy?
Hi, I'm doing I'm doing good. I'm great.
Awesome. And also, joining us for the first time for Our Way Mandalorian Review, he is the new kid on the block, the new kid who has joined the team of Nerd Culture. He is DC Nerd. Nick, how are you doing today, man?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Doing well. Thank you so much.
Wasn't
for
a
joining
new
us.
kid on the block
you...
named Nick?
Yeah,
Was there?
Was there a new kid on the block that was named Nick?
If there is, now I gotta look this up.
I'm looking this up after the show.
I might have to.
You might have to do that. But aside from that, ladies and gentlemen, if you are watching this and this is your first time with us here at Our Way, Our Mandalorian Review, we are going to be doing a spoiler-heavy discussion. So if you have not seen the latest episode, put this video in your watch later list. Come back and watch later after you've had a chance to see the new episode that has dropped on Disney Plus for The Mandalorian Season 2. So give you a quick recap as we go along here, and if you are watching this at home and watching along with us, please feel free to comment your thoughts about what you thought of this week's episode in the live chat. We'll be monitoring that as we go throughout the course of the day. So to give you a quick recap, this is The Passenger is the title of this week's episode. So the Mandalorian, he's on his way back to his ship with that cool-looking speeder bike, him and the child, and apparently there are still people who want this child's bounty. So what do? They pull a rope. He gets flown from his speeder bike, crashes, but Mando's okay. He's fine. He's not going to get any bumps, bruises, or scratches. So he has to fight off these goons, these bounty hunters who are trying to take him and the child away, all that kind of stuff. He has a little bit of a creative way to get rid of the last guy who's trying to steal his ridiculously good-looking jetpack.
That was by far the favorite part.
Yeah, that was a nice way to get your jetpack returned to you, Mandalorian. So after that, he goes back to the Tatooine bunker, or the landing platform. He finds the mechanic. Mechanic says, "Hey, I got a tip for you. There's someone here who has information that can lead you to more Mandalorians. But in order to do that, you have to take this female frog who is carrying a container size full of eggs, her eggs, take them on the ship with you, transport her to a place called Trask, and she will lead you to the person who can tell you where you can find more Mandalorian." So Mandalorian gets his stuff together, goes on the ship. They're on their way to Trask. They have to go at a bit of a slower speed because they don't want to disturb or destroy the female frog's eggs. So they have to go at sublight speed, as it's called on the show. So as they're doing this, Mando gets approached by not one, but two X-Wing fighters on either side of him. Say, "Hey, where are you going there, buddy?" They're like, "I'm just, going somewhere." And so, well, we don't have your signal. We need you to ping or whatever. So he says, "Hey, I wasn't with the Empire before this. I'm cool. You don't have to worry about me. I'm not an enemy of yours." So he's like, "Well, things have changed. There's a new republic being built, and we need to make sure everything is, cross your T's, dot your I's. We need you to send us a signal so we know where you are." Like, all right, give me a second. Doesn't want to do it. So he evades the X-Wings. There's a giant flying battle going on. They're going down to this planet that's filled with a bit of ice, a little bit of coldness, a little bit of glaciers. His ship crashes, and he has to find a way to repair the ship so the female frog, the child, they can get to this place called Trask. But along the way, let me tell you something. One of my favorite things about this episode, apparently this is my favorite thing about this episode, there are these giant spider-like creatures that are crawling all over this cave. All over this cave that his ship is in, and he is trying to get away from these things. And by the way, I'm happy that Mando finally pulled out his sidearm, because we're so used to seeing him use that sniper rifle, we hardly ever see him use the sidearm, the 9mm pistol, whatever it is, that he uses to blast these things out of oblivion. So I gotta say, that was fun. But overall, I want to go to Nick first. Nick, after Mando is able to get away from these creatures, these spiders that are trying to destroy him, the ship, take away the child, take away this woman, the female frog and her eggs, all that kind of jazz, these rebel X-wing pilots help him out at the end, and then he has to repair his ship, and they got to limp their way to Trask, and that's how the episode ends. So overall, Nick, what are your thoughts on this week's episode of The Mandalorian?
I loved it a lot because one of my gripes with the new trilogy is they don't really show a lot of like the other planets and like kind of like alien life. It's supposed to be like a galaxy far away, and a lot through these past 2 episodes, they're showing other species. We never really saw the frog species. We never saw these like ice spiders that were horrifying. I don't know how that was your favorite part, just spiders everywhere. But they're trying to expand on the universe. They're trying to show other parts of it. Like last week, it was like the Tusken Raiders getting a lot of screen time, and there was the huge dragon underneath. You're getting to see more and more of the Star Wars universe than just kind of the Skywalker family drama universe, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no. That makes sense. So, Greg, what were your thoughts on this week's episode?
Nothing about this week's episode was okay. Nothing about this was okay. Too many spiders. I remember like when they started like crawling out of like all the little like caves, I just had a chill run from like the top of my head to my feet. It was like so wrong. Like I hated everything about the spiders. But I mean, the episode itself was, I would say it was okay, honestly. Like I didn't love it like I did last week's because it didn't do much to advance the story, I would say.
Yeah, like, that's kind of one of my main problems with The Mandalorian recently.
Yeah, it's just like it was kind of reminiscent of like the first and second episode of like I would say like the first 3 episodes of season 1, where it's just like you're being introduced to something, but like this something doesn't actually advance the story. It's just like, this is a cool thing that we thought would be fun to write and make, so we did it. Like, but it didn't really advance the story. Like, don't get me wrong, it was still a fun episode. I don't know why he didn't use a flamethrower more, but you know,
no. Against ice spiders. Keyword is ice.
Exactly. But like, honestly, it was an okay episode for me. Like I did like last week's a lot more because there was like more of a story and more of just like, hey, like this is the Mandalorian and this is what he does. But I mean, this week it was all right. You got to see like how people interact now out in space with like the New Republic being built and everything. So like that was cool, but like, you know, I would have liked if they made it to the planet and then like he was searching for like this other Mandalorian that these people say that they've found.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I completely understand, and maybe I should have been a little bit more clear. As far as my thoughts on the overall episode, this to me is definitely like night and day. Like last week's episode was such a great starter. Yeah. This one was just, it's fine, it's filler, doesn't really do much. You know, you got to transport this woman, this frog, and the eggs, and then you got to go on your ship. You got to travel to this place called Trask, and you get confronted by 2 X-wing fighters along the way. The flying, like the escape sequence between them and the fighters was cool, and then him using his pistol to get rid of these spiders and the flamethrower and that sort of stuff, and to see different alien species and how they interact, how they talk, how they look, how they're presented. I like those little details, but overall, I'm like, okay, this episode's fine, but he's stranded most of the episode. He's not doing much of anything. He's just sleeping. He's like, child, I need you to stay here. Mrs. Frog, I need you to stay here with your eggs so nothing bad happens to him. Yeah. And the ice spiders are everywhere. Yeah, the ice spiders are crawling everywhere. Like, to me, the episode didn't even pick up until the spiders started coming out of their eggs / shells and attacking everybody. And then they're running for their lives. And I'm like, okay, finally, we're getting somewhere. You're running, you're blasting these things, you're using your flamethrower on your wrists and all this kind of jazz. And I like it, but it's like, at the end of the day, this was filler. Didn't really give us too much. And now his ship is barely surviving at the end of the episode. He's limping towards that area known as Trask to get this frog, her eggs, to get to the source of where he can find more Mandalorians. And I'm like, okay, you could have done a little bit more, but I understand it's the ending. He's limping with his ship, and then the next episode is going to fill in more of the gaps. I'm hoping, and to go into our next segue here, what do we hope to see in the next episode? I'm hoping he does get to Trask. I'm hoping he does find the source of where the Mandalorians are. If he meets up with more Mandos, hey, give it to me, son. I'll take this over him just sitting in an ice cave with his, two
Yeah.
passengers, chilling like a villain and just looking at his wrist thing. Like, okay, just sleep. Everybody sleep. And if anything comes up, just holler.
He
has
really
his
just
head
passed
down.
out. Yeah.
Yeah, and he
Yeah.
has his head
I'm
down
done.
like this.
He's like,
it's
I'm
like,
done.
come on.
Good night.
He's like,
It
I'm
was-
tired. Just give me a break, guys. Give me a
It
break.
was literally like a sleeping episode.
It really was. It was filler, man. It was pure. To me, it was pure filler. But
Yeah.
hey,
Well, that's
it is
what
what it
happened.
is. It is what it is. Hoping to see more in the next episode, which I'm pretty sure we're going to see as soon as he reaches Trask and finds the person who's going to lead him to the source of more Mandalorians. But other than that, I'll start off with you here, Greg. What are you hoping to see in next week's episode?
I kind of hope there's more. Well, what I think is going to happen in the next episode, like you remember that like woman like that was like hiding in the shadows in like the teaser
The
trailer.
Yeah.
Or
Oh yeah,
I think it's going to be that episode where like he's going to be like chasing her and like trying because like she's like the next like Mandalorian or like some sort of like Force user that like the Mandalorian is like hunting or something, or like I think it's going to be like more focused on not really finding the Mandalorian, but like trying to find like a Force user or like more of like the I guess space wizardry
wizard.
that like the Mandalorians are like so afraid of for some reason. I mean, not even for some reason, like they can move stuff with their minds. So also,
they have,
why
like,
didn't the kid
cool stories.
do anything? Like he doesn't do
he did
anything
something.
anymore.
No, he did something.
Yeah,
He committed
he's
a crime.
wrong.
He ate
did
a lot of eggs.
And
Oh
he
no,
caused- and he
like,
caused the spiders to attack.
terrible. That's terrible. Like the kid sucks right now. Like the kid sucks this season. Like
When
I'm
did baby
sorry.
Yoda problem child?
Like
I
I'm
know,
sorry.
He's,
Like
he's eating this woman's eggs. He's picking
like
at
the
things he
last
shouldn't
of her
be picking at.
line. Like the last of
Yeah,
her,
I learned that. I'm like kind of laughing at first, and then she says that. I'm like, oh,
yeah, like
okay.
like that's not okay. Like the child is like
wow.
the child is like evil this season. Like I honestly think the villain of this season is the child.
Well, yeah, because
like a
he's
plot
eating all the
twist.
eggs. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's eating all the eggs. No, I got you.
You know, next episode,
Yeah.
I feel like is going to be like more of like a chase and like more like mystery to it, I guess. But hopefully next episode picks up a little bit more.
No, I got you. Nick, what are your thoughts about what potentially you want to see happen in the next episode?
Well, I was kind of disappointed because I was at the end. I kid you not. I'm watching with my friends, and I saw Boba Fett at the end. I jumped up and I screamed, "That's Boba Fett! He's gonna be in the. He's gonna do this and that." Didn't show up. Then he left Tatooine,
Yeah.
so I was disappointed. I'm hoping for more continuity in a sense because when I dipped last year from The Mandalorian it was like progression, and then we went to like filler episodes almost, and then it picked up at the end.
Yeah,
I kind of want him to like almost what Greg said. He goes to the planet where that person in the hood is. Maybe she knows where the Mandalorian core is,
Mhm.
just because I kind of want to see like more action and more of this story progressing. If that makes sense.
yeah.
Yeah, no. It makes sense. It makes sense. Yeah, we no matter what, we look forward to seeing what happens within the next episode of The Mandalorian. New episodes drop every Friday on Disney Plus. If you don't have Disney Plus, sign up for it. Check out the back season of Mandalorian so you can catch up on the first 10 episodes that have in total that have been dropped so
fun.
far. I'm gonna go to the chat here because we have a few people chiming in here. This is actually my brother. He says it was a great episode this week. It was tense throughout. Thanks for dropping in, Kevin. Thomas Carter Rochester, a good friend, he says, "This is the way." It is the way, Thomas.
This is
It
the way.
Yeah. See, Nick's
This is
wearing
the
the
way.
shirt, so he can actually salute that. Thomas has some thoughts on this week's episode. He says it's similar to what happened in episode 2 of last season, which is weird. It starts where the last one ends. Singular plot pointed to this one thing that should be simple but keeps getting more difficult. Then it gets back to the plot at the end, but includes loads of info for the potential future. Let me see.
Yeah.
The info is that the New Republic are blank space cops, but they aren't worried about Mando
They are.
right now. So his problem is really with the with the imps, and the fact that Zero is on the ship still means he could be reprogrammed to be an assistant droid. Which, by the way, we didn't get to that particular
Oh,
plot.
I
but in
I didn't
order-
think of that actually.
Yeah,
In
I
order to
completely
speak-
forgot
in
about
in order to
that.
speak to in order for us to understand what this frog creature was saying in English, she used a
Yeah.
droid that was already on Mando's ship and tapped into his, speech patterns. Let me see. Thomas says hashtag Baby Yoda is a murderer.
Yes,
Well,
he
he
is.
did eat a lot of eggs.
Yes.
He ate a lot
But
of eggs
he's
there,
cute.
Thomas. And he also
Baby
says
Yoda
Thomas says
only
Thomas
specifically
says the
goes
next
after small
episode-
children.
Yeah, Thomas says the next episode is going to introduce Sabine. I'm calling it right now. Ooh, that'll be interesting.
I hope
Uh,
so.
She was from Rebels, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I never saw
I
Rebels.
think so.
We shall see. Let me see. Thomas says he's given us he's given us 2 cents of advice. He says it's about the journey, not necessarily the destination. All right,
Yeah.
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair, Thomas.
It was at least interesting world building to see.
That's what
Yeah,
it
we
is.
get
like
to see
It was a
more
lot of
creatures.
world
the
building.
frog, the giant ant thing, the giant.
Oh
like,
my God, yeah.
Dr. Mandible or something. Like that was,
I remember it.
and then like the giant like frost spiders, like that was cool. And then like how the Republic like interacts with like random like ships in space, like that was also interesting. But like again, like I kind of want like a little bit more of the story to progress, because like essentially nothing happened this episode. Like all they did was like go to another planet, fight some spiders, and then that's it.
Don't get me wrong, it's
Yeah.
awesome to see this
Yeah.
stuff. Like, I'm not just like glossing over. It was
Oh,
awesome
yeah.
when he was like destroying all these spiders, and then the X-wings come in. It's so cool. But like you're saying, I just want to see what I came here for, which was like
No, I got you.
like, is the Empire really dead story?
Mhm.
Like, why is Baby Yoda so important? Blah blah blah.
Yeah. All that.
Why
all
is
that
he
kinda, all that
eating
kinda stuff.
other children? Like
Because there can
He's
only be
eating
one. There can only be one child.
Yeah. By the way,
It's not the
Thomas
children;
chimed-
it's the child.
it is the child.
Yeah, Thomas chimes in with another thought on this week's episode. He says, OMG, how about the Idiot's Array? That's the rarest way to win a game of Sabacc, where the mechanic from Tatooine was playing a card game against
yeah.
that ant. Yeah, that was
That-
interesting. He spoke very little language, but the woman understands everything he's saying. He's like, yeah, no, it's okay. He's been on a hot streak, but I got this. It's okay. And then she's like, read
love
him
that
and
she-
weep, boys. I got a full house. Like, whatever.
I love that she could just speak every language.
Oh, she
like-
can speak every language. And by the way she delivers her lines just bluntly is so good.
Yes.
I like her character. I like the
Like if
mechanics.
there was a spinoff of her
yeah,
her character, I'm just like, I'd watch it. Like
yeah,
I enjoy
the
her
mechanic
character.
on Tatooine is funny stuff. I like her.
I'm like
she is a great
50-50 on
addition.
her.
Really?
I got you.
I'm a little 50-50. I'm not gonna lie.
Really? Okay.
I'm not as in love as you guys.
It's okay.
She's-
Hey,
She's a fun
open to
character.
interpretation.
I honestly like really
I'm
like
not saying
her.
she's not a fun character. I'm just
yeah,
saying.
it's just some things work, some things don't. That's all good.
She's
Director
fun.
of this
I
episode,
like her.
Peyton Reed, built a story around the giant ant of Star Wars. Well, thanks for bringing that
Yeah.
up, Thomas. Yes, Peyton Reed did direct this week's episode, aka Ant-Man director.
Yeah, that
Did he?
was.
Yeah, it's true.
Huh.
Peyton Reed, the director of Ant-Man and Ant-Man 2, directed this week's episode
Oh,
of
that's
The
right.
Mandalorian specifically.
It was like
was
very
thinking- I was-
insect heavy. Yeah.
I was thinking of Edgar Wright for some reason
No,
because he was
no, Edgar
attached
Wright
to Ant-Man at
almost,
first.
almost.
Yeah, that's what
Oh
it
my-
was. And I was so confused. I was like, wait a second.
Oh my god! Imagine if Edgar Wright did direct one of these.
That would have been one of the funnier movies.
That would have been hilarious.
I'm thinking like everything he's done.
Oh, that would be
Yeah.
hilarious. I would love that.
Potentially would have
Oh
been
my
one heck
God.
of a vision for a very certain character within the MCU. But outside of that,
Yeah, that was that's
this
interesting.
was fun. I look forward to seeing where this journey continues in this season of The Mandalorian. Also, don't
Yes.
forget, make sure this is going to do it for this episode of Our Way Mandalorian Review. We want to take this opportunity to thank each and
always
every
fun.
one of
Way.
you for joining us. We appreciate you guys. It's a lot of fun to do these things, and you can catch us every Saturday at 12 p.m. EST talking
Right here.
about the week's episode of The Mandalorian in detail. We're going to share with you our thoughts, our opinions, and where we think the story is potentially going to go in the following episode. But without any further ado, I want to say thank you to Greg, thank you to Nick. You can find all of us here on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at It's Nerd Culture. New videos are dropping every week, so be sure to check out our YouTube channel for that. Like, comment, subscribe, do all that
all the
stuff. In the
things.
meantime, stay healthy, stay safe, stay strong, and remember,
This is the way.
This is the way.